Been here since day one.
Women of Culture 365 presents G.L.O.W, a greater level of wellness, with your host and coach, Mea Allman, founder of Women of Culture 365 and G.L.O.W 365, focusing on how to master self, along with her co-host and coaches, Don Hewitt, whose focus is on how to treat the whole body. Sophie G will bring you words of wisdom. And Lady Q, focusing on your spiritual wellness. Now, G.L.O.W's music producer is activist Marcus Boyd. Now, join us as we go Facebook and YouTube live at G.L.O.W 365 TV show every second Tuesday at 7 p.m. as we talk about the mind, body, and soul, a conversation you do not want to miss.
Hi, I'm Coach Mea, founder of Women of Culture 365. Welcome to G.L.O.W 365 TV show. Thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at G.L.O.W 365 TV show, where you can watch all our current and previous show. And now, here is your host for On Cue with Evangelist Coach Lady Q.
It's your girl, Lady Q, and I just want to say thank you for joining us here at the G.L.O.W 365 TV show. I just want to give a shout out before I really get started to my other co-host and our founder, Mea, our coach, Don Hewitt, and Coach Sophie G. I just want to give a shout out to them today. It's been amazing working with them. And so now we're moving into other segments of the G.L.O.W 365 TV show. And so today I am going to talk about what the What's in Your Purse conference was last month. I did What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. It is an annual women's conference, and it was about releasing the baggage. And it's not about what's really in your purse. That's just a metaphor for the baggage that we carry in our life day to day. I just want to say before I move any further, don't forget to subscribe and share our page, because you never know. There may be somebody out there going through similar situations, similar issues, somebody that needs help. And it's my hope and my prayer that G.L.O.W 365 can help somebody out there. And so just to go into What's in Your Purse did for the 3 days of our conference, the first day we started out with Minister Chastity Smith. Now, let me tell you, she dropped a whole lot of nuggets about what's in your purse. She focused on how to be the woman that God has called us to be, how to be the discerning woman. And one of the main things that really stuck out to me is about being the covenant woman, a covenant sister. And what a covenant sister is when you have someone that you can go to and just go beyond the veil. You know, sometimes we go through issues and we go through things in life, and we don't have that person that we feel that we can connect to. And oftentimes we got to pray for God to send that right person or right persons in our life to help us when we're going through some things, or just to be able to be there. So that covenant sister is that person that's not judgmental. She is not going to judge you regardless of what you're going through. She's not going to judge your situation. She's not going to judge anything. And what she won't do, she won't uncover you. That means she will pray for you. She will even carry your burdens when you need her to. That sister that you can call in the middle of the night, that truly is covering and praying for you. And yes, we do have maybe our mother, an aunt, a grandmother that is praying for us, but sometimes we need that sister, that sisterhood that we can tap into, that we can go to. And so she used the story of Ruth and Naomi to really explain the sisterhood that Ruth and Naomi had. And so that was day one. And as we went into day two, it was yours truly who opened up for day two. And so in day two, it was about walking away from all the weight As in Hebrews 12, it tells us, let go of every weight that so easily beset you, those things that you carry, the bondage that you've been in. And sometimes we also have to walk away from family. So when we look at Naomi and Ruth, we see this mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship where the mother-in-law was the example of who God would have her to be as a woman. And so the daughter-in-law tapped into that and realized she wanted to live that type of life. And so they also had this covenant sisterhood. And there's so many things to learn when it comes to Ruth and Naomi and the relationship that they had. You know, it was an impact that Naomi had on Ruth. It was such an impact. How many of us are willing to walk away from close friends, even family, that have us in places that are not good for us, that have us in broken places? You know, when we have had to go through trauma in life and experience so many different types of trauma, sometimes within family, sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's an intimate relationship, and we have to walk away from that thing sometimes. And so we see in this story where one walked away from all of those things because of the impact of the woman that was in her life, and how God used her to show her, like, I can elevate you to the next level. I can give you a better life, but you have to trust me. And so God showed um the daughter-in-law the what it is to be a God-fearing woman, a woman who walks in who he is, a woman that trusts him throughout her situation. And so she was willing to walk away. Sometimes we just need to walk away. We need to walk away from the hurt places and the hurt things. We need to walk away from those things that have kept us in bondage, and we need to get to that place saying, okay, God, I'm gonna trust you no matter what. I don't know what I'm walking into because I'm walking into a foreign territory, but I'm going to trust you no matter what. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to trust you in spite of all that I've had to go through. Because, see, when we trust ourselves, oftentimes we can even fail ourselves. When we trust other people, people will fail us. But when we trust God, God will send the right people that he will put in our place. And so that was the second day. And the third day of what's in your purse was truly just of engaging the congregation, tapping into the women that was there. And that was Prophetess Trina Jones that came and delivered the word for that evening. And what she did was powerful. It was definitely a move of God where women got delivered. And it wasn't just that typical, I'm going to stand up here and tell you, you're going to get this and you're going to get that. It was truly reaching into the dark place, pulling women out, reaching into the hurt place, pulling those women out, reaching into places that women had locked up and they had held deep inside of them. And it was some that was dealing with some deep, deep, deep hurt. And so what Prophetess Trina Jones did was help pull those women out of there. And then at the end of the night, it was truly victorious. And so the What's in Your Purse Women's Conference, I cannot wait to see what God is going to do for next year. I cannot wait to see what he's going to unveil, because seemingly every year it has a tendency of growing and getting bigger and more. And so it's really about the obedience, because there's so many women that are out there hurting. There are so many women that are going through things that I have personally met, that women were dealing with situations and issues up until their older years that they hadn't got any healing from, they hadn't been delivered from. They struggled with those things. And so, with that being said, we have to get to that place and say, God, I trust you. I'm just going to let go. And we also, those of us that have gotten the healing, that have gotten deliverance, that have gotten the tools to come out of bondage, that have carried all of this baggage and have learned to let go of that baggage. Some of us have to teach those that don't know how. Some of us have to walk with those that are struggling to get through the process. And so as we move forward, I'm excited to see what God is going to do for What's in Your Purse going forward. I am excited to just be able to share, because I've been in a hurt place and I've been in a broken place. And I know that God is using not only my story as a testimony to help bring people out, but God is using others as well to bring other women out of their hurt and their brokenness, and even men. So I don't want to forget about the men, because there's men out there that can actually pull from another woman's story that can help him come out of this situation. And so for that, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And so as of right now, we're going to go to a commercial, and then when I come back, we're going to talk about how to let go of the baggage, some of the baggage we deal with, and how to let go of that baggage. So just hold tight, and we'll be back shortly. It's your girl, Lady Q, and thank you for joining us here at Glow 365 TV. Hit like, subscribe, and please share. And we are now on YouTube Live, so you can also join us at YouTube and Facebook Live. And we'll be on air every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So as we move forward, I talked about the What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. Now we're going to talk about the type of baggage that we carry. And so tonight, the one thing that I really want to focus on is stress, because it seems like everywhere I go, people are dealing with stress. Everywhere I go and I talk to someone, they are dealing with levels of stress that is causing all kind of problems. And oftentimes we don't realize what stress do to our life. We don't realize what stress even does to the body. And so if you are carrying stress in your body, and sometimes we carry stress and we don't even know that we're stressing. We think that a situation has happened or certain things have happened, and we're just going to move on with life, and we keep moving on with life. And what ends up happening is the body is what it does is almost like a volcano reaction to me, is that the body says, okay, you have put so much stress on me, and now I can't deal with it no more. Now I can't carry it anymore. And so what ends up happening is that it begins to affect the body. It begins to affect the immune system. One of the things that women deal with that's not talked about so often, and I can attest to this personally, is fibromyalgia. If you are someone that deals with fibromyalgia like I do, if my body is carrying a great level of stress, I will begin to feel the weight, like somebody have set bricks on my shoulders, and then the rest of my body is hurting. And so we have to understand that stress will begin to attack the body. And when it begins to attack the body, it can become debilitating. We can assume that, okay, maybe my back is just hurting and it's hurting for an extensively long time, and I can't figure out why I keep having back spasms. And what's actually happening is the stress is building up in the body. And when the stress begins to build up in the body, it can cause even issues with the back. It can cause issues with your head where you will begin to have migraines. You're trying to figure out where these migraines are coming from. You figure maybe I'm not getting enough sleep. And the reality of it is, even when we're stressing and we go to sleep, we are carrying that within us, that although we're getting sleep, we're not getting rest. And then we wonder why we wake up and we're not rested. We wake up and we're irritable. We wake up and we're talking to our children, our spouse, our friends, and we're irritable. We find ourselves even being emotional, dealing with depression and anxiety, because another thing that stress does to the body is bring on depression and cause anxiety to go up and your anxiety to be high. And so it then begins to play with the mind, and it begins to attack the mind, where the mind will begin to think things. And we have to be careful to guard our mind and to guard what's happening. We have to be careful of the type of stress we allow that come into our life. Sometimes we just have to separate ourselves from certain people, certain environments. Sometimes we just need to catch a break, because stress can cause some serious problems. It can also upset your digestive system. Can you imagine that when you're stressed out, some of us, and I'm guilty, can eat. It can cause us to eat more than what we normally eat. It can cause us to eat in the middle of the night, because what happens is food tells the body, I feel good, because there's endorphins that goes to the brain that make you feel good. And so with that being said, when we're stressed out, some of us like to eat. Some of us like eating that ice cream at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. Some of us like finding that cake and ice cream at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And I can say I'm guilty of that. I've even There was a time where I would cook a whole meal in the middle of the night and sit down and eat a whole meal, lay down, and then go to sleep. So understanding that we have to be careful of those things. Another thing that can happen for those of us that carry a high level of stress, we'll stop eating. We won't eat and don't even know that we haven't eaten anything. And so we have to be careful that stress is not controlling our body. It will control how we talk to people and who we allow around us. And we'll push away those that is trying to love us, those that is trying to be there for us. And so, with that being said, we have to be ever so mindful of the type of things that we're dealing with. We have to learn to release ourselves from those things. We have to let go of that baggage, because truly, stress is probably one of the greatest types of baggage that we deal with. Can you imagine? Your child come to you and they need something, and you're trying to figure out how to take care of their needs. Your job is pulling on you, saying, okay, I need you to finish this project. Your husband comes to you and he has a concern or an issue, or he just needs your time, and you may not have the time. That's stress. You may be dealing with a broken relationship. You may be dealing with childhood trauma. All of these things are stressors that weigh on us. Can you think back to something that you went through when you was young, not even necessarily a child, but when you were young, and that thing still weighs on you? You'll see something and it'll trigger an emotion. That stress that you're still holding on to, that you haven't let go of. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't know how to let go of the stress. We think, okay, well, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not dealing with it. And then something happened that will trigger the very thought, an image, a smell will trigger it. And then we're like, okay, how did I get here? How did I end up in this situation? And so with that being said, we have to learn to let go of the baggage. There's important things that we need to focus on, and there's strategies that we have to deal with stress. And that first strategy, I would say, is prayer. You got to pray about everything. You got to trust God with your stress. You got to trust God with your issues, with all of your problems, your hurt, your pain, even the things that no one know about but you. Trust God with it, and you pray and you asking him for guidance. You ask him to show you a way. You ask him to put people in your life that can possibly help you with what you're going through. There's so many people that have like stories, that have a like testimony, somebody that have gone through what you're going through, that have carried the same type of stress that you're carrying, and they can show you how to walk out of that. And so prayer is not the only thing. That's just where we start. And so the next thing I would say is meditation. Begin to meditate. When you pray and you're asking God to help you through your process, meditate on what's happening, meditate on the goodness of God. Take 3 things that you're grateful for and begin to meditate on the things that you're grateful for. Just 3 a day. 3 a day, 3 things that you're grateful for, and watch God will begin to transform your thinking. He will begin to transform how you look at things. He will begin to show you things in a different light. Now, this right here is a big for me is journaling. I have learned to journal everything, taking it from the mind, writing it on paper, not on your phone. Don't get on your phone and you in your phone and you writing it in your phone. No, hand to paper. It is something about the connection between hand to paper that the emotion will begin to flow. If you need to cry it out, cry it out. If you need to grab a pillow and scream in the pillow, scream in the pillow. Whatever it is that you need to do, because oftentimes when we begin to journal, we begin to write things, then we are releasing ourselves of the stress. We're releasing ourselves from that thing that has been weighing us down. And so, with that being said, you're also going to write 3 things that you're grateful for. And also focus on the thing that is stressing you, how it made you feel, and write that. Because as you continue to write what's stressing you, how it made you feel, and at the same time, the 3 things that you're grateful for, over time, you can begin to reflect because there may be something stressing you and you don't even realize that it's causing you stress. And so, those are some tools that we can use to relieve ourselves from some of the stress. It does not mean that as soon as you start that everything is going to go away. I wish it worked like that, but can you imagine if you've carried years and years and years of stuff and that stress is weighing on you? It's going to take time for it to come out and for it to be released. And so I want you to hold on to those tools. And right now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when I come back, I'm just going to go over what forgiveness is, because forgiveness will allow us to be in a different place when we're carrying stress. And so hold on, and we'll be back shortly. It's your girl, Lady Q, and thank you for joining us here at G.L.O.W 365 TV. Now, I'm back to talk to you about the role of forgiveness and letting go of baggage. Now, there's 3 levels. And so the first one is forbearance, to no longer dwell yet be watchful. With that being said, you no longer dwell in the space of the stress that you're carrying and the hurt that you're carrying, that you will remain watchful, because sometimes people hurt us. They don't even know that they've hurt us. And sometimes people have done things to us and they've moved on. And so we have to learn to let go of that thing where it does not become a weight of stress. The second one is release, letting go of bad feelings that are hindering you, because sometimes we have bad feelings that cause us to be hindered. We can't move forward. We can't do any of those things. And so we have to learn to just release it. Let it completely go. And when we learn to release it and let it completely go, we can let go of those feelings. Those feelings are no longer controlling our life. Those feelings are no longer in the way of us moving forward, taking the next step in life, or even leveling up. And so the third one is exoneration, wiping the slate clean. And exoneration is amazing because this is when the two of you have come together, you've talked, there's been a true apology, accountability for what's happened. And then you can say, you know what? We're just going to wipe this slate clean. We're going to start all over and we're going to start afresh. But not only starting all over in a relationship, you get to start all over in your heart and in your mind. You get to move forward in a place of being restored and renewed. Understand that God does not want us to hold on to all the things that stress us out. He does not want us to carry all of this baggage. Just like we put things in our purse and that purse gets heavy and weighed down. And when the purse gets heavy and weighed down, it begins to hurt the shoulder. It begins to pull on us. And then we go in that purse and we look at all of these different things and we begin to pull out the different things out of the purse saying, okay, when did this happen and when did that happen? And then sometimes we need to take that purse, dump it all the way upside down, open it up, pull everything else out that's still left remaining in there. And we need to get rid of some things. We need to throw away some things. We need to look at some things and say, okay, it's no longer, do I need to hold on to this? This person gave me this for me to hold. Now it's time for me to give it back to them and allow them to be accountable for it so that I can truly and genuinely move on. God would not want us in a place to be burdened down. Again, Hebrews 12 says, let go of every weight that so easily beset you. You have to let go of everything that cause hindrance, that is going to cause you to trip up. You have to let go of those things that have hurt you. And it takes time. We will not ever be able to let go of everything all at one time. It takes time. So, one thing at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time, 1 second at a time. You cannot find yourself in a place trying to let go of everything at one time because guess what? You will find yourself overwhelmed. And then that in itself is so much stress. So I want you to think back on when you've gone through something and the thing that you've held on to and say, okay, this right here is imperative for me to let go of this. It's imperative for me to let it go so I can move forward. It's imperative for me to let go so I can be restored. It's imperative for me to let it go so that I can be healed. It's imperative for me to let it go so I can do what God has purposed in my life. Understand that we all have a purpose in this life. And so because of the purpose that you have that's in your life, God has purposed you for something very specific. Look back over your life and look at the things that you have gone through and say, okay, God, what is my purpose? How do I move forward from here? If you still holding on to all the things that you have gone through and they have become such stressors in your life, tearing down your body, messing with your mind, distorting your relationships, causing things to hinder you from moving forward, that is not the place for you to be. Because understand that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. God made you with purpose and on purpose. You was intentionally created for this moment and this time. And everything that you've gone through, it was for a reason and for a purpose. And you may not understand it right now. You may not understand your process right now, but understand that you was made on purpose, intentionally for a purpose. And there are so many out there that may be going through something that you've been through and you have a story to tell. Don't hold on to your story. Don't stick it down in that bag and try to hide it away. Pull your story out and begin to tell your story because you have a story for a reason and for a purpose. I want to say to you, thank you for joining us here at Glow 365 TV with your girl, Lady Q. We are on air every week, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live. Every first Tuesday is our holistic health, and that is with our coach, Don Hewitt, where she talks and focuses on how to treat the whole body through holistic wellness and more. Every second Tuesday is a woman's perspective with Coach Mea, and she will focus on self-care and the effects that affect our mental and physical and spiritual well-being and how to master self plus more. Every third Tuesday is your girl, Lady Q, on Q, where I will talk about focusing and releasing the baggage that we are carrying, finding purpose, building stronger marriages through spiritual wellness, and much more. And then for every fourth Tuesday is Warriors of Hope with Coach Mea and Coach Don, raising awareness by sharing stories from individuals who are survivors or still battling chronic illnesses or conditions. Thank you again for joining us here at G.L.O.W 365 TV. And please don't forget to hit like, hit share, and subscribe on YouTube.
Been here since day one.
Women of Culture 365 presents G.L.O.W, a greater level of wellness, with your host and coach, Mea Allman, founder of Women of Culture 365 and G.L.O.W 365, focusing on how to master self, along with her co-host and coaches, Don Hewitt, whose focus is on how to treat the whole body. Sophie G will bring you words of wisdom. And Lady Q, focusing on your spiritual wellness. Now, G.L.O.W's music producer is activist Marcus Boyd. Now, join us as we go Facebook and YouTube live at G.L.O.W 365 TV show every second Tuesday at 7 p.m. as we talk about the mind, body, and soul, a conversation you do not want to miss.